Hello. Once again, this is Jeff Robertson, National Sales Manager with Penton Audio USA, and this is a video on how to set up your DTMF telco page within the IDA8 Mass Notification System controller. So let's get started. I'm going to launch the software, and once we launch the software, I'm going to go up to the Tools and Communications and switch the communications from my wireless card to my hardwired NIC card, and we should see the devices right there. There they are. First thing I want to do is go in here. I know there's a design in there already that we can start from, and I will highlight the controller and click on reverse. As we showed you in previous videos, this will upload the existing design programming inside the IDA8C up into my software so we can view it, program it, manipulate it, and then compile and store it once we're all done. Alright, so let's go into the IDA8 controller. The network page module that you see here is the hub of all the activity within the IDA8C. But as you can see on the left hand side we have 16 inputs, and on the right hand side we have 8 outputs that are M1, M as in Mary, through M8. Those stand for the monitored outputs. These are the actual outputs that go to the supervised audio outputs C and D on the back of the unit. These are hardwired in. You cannot change these. You could turn monitoring off if you do not need supervision for any of these circuits, but if you do need supervised paging, these are the circuits that you get the supervised paging from. You got outputs 9 through 16 because you could also have 2 4-channel output cards on the IDA8C or S, and these are unsupervised, but they do give you 8 more channels of audio, whether they're 4 channels in, 4 channels out, or 8 channels in, or in this case 8 channels out. They're available for you right here. And I just ran those to a meter so we could actually access them through programming. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is go up here to my DS component list, and I'll expand that tree out, and I will go all the way down, and I will pull up my telco card. I will drag this into the design, and as you can see it brings the telco receive block and a telco transmit block into the design, and we'll put them up there. One thing to note, you can only have one telco card on any IDA8C. You cannot put a telco card on an IDA8S. We've got the telco card in here. If I try to drag a second one in here, it's going to give me an error saying you can't add any more. You only get one per controller, and that's because there's only one telco card slot that you can physically mount one in. This is my receive, and this is going to be my incoming telco signal coming into the system. So I can wire this incoming audio to any input on my network pager module, and so I'm just going to, for fun, take it up here to input 1. Now, my telco transmit, I'm not using this for anything. We're just using it for DTMF paging at this point. But we can't ignore the TC transmit block, because without this block connected to something, the telco card will not work. Both the transmit and receive have to be connected to something for it to be compiled and in the signal chain for it to work. And we do a lot of monitoring of the activity through this transmit card as well. So what I like to do to make this really easy is I'll just go up, find a noise generator, a tone, pink noise, it doesn't matter which one. Bring it into your design, wire it to your telco transmit, and you can even go in here and mute it so it's actually not sending audio or anything through the system. And that will satisfy the telco card. Now you got the receive and the transmit connected. The second step is to actually set up your telco page event. So let's open up the network page module by double clicking here, and this brings up here's my 16 input channels that we are talking to that's coming in, and depending on how we route them, they're going to go in or out, and we will set that up here in a second. Now what I like to do first is all of my sources coming in to the network page controller. As you can see, I can have up to 16 of them here. I like to label them so I know what they are when I go back into programming. We do that through this little button down here called Paging Source. This has absolutely nothing to do with the operations. This is just an informational tool so you can actually assign labels to your inputs on your page controller. So when you're looking into programming, it's actually referred to and you know what you're manipulating. So we're going to click Add, and I'm going to say telco page. There we go. And if you wanted, I could actually go in here and say BGM for background music if I wanted. I could add one. Maybe it's VoIP page, and I'll put that just for fun. And then we'll just close this out. So now audio input 1 is where we physically wired our telco receive block. And so here's audio in channel 1. First thing I want to do is go up here and actually assign it a source. This has nothing to do with the operation. I'm just putting a label on it, and I'm just going to say telco page. So now when I'm looking at it, I know, okay, that's the telco page input, and I can program it accordingly. If I assign it evac or security, these are additional levels of priority that in other areas, whether it's logic or audio routing, I can give it a higher priority. Evac and security are just software bins that you can program to do certain things. So we're not going to use that for telco page. We just want to be able to dial in, hit a code, and go to the appropriate zone or combination of zones. All right, Modbus type. Don't worry about this. This is for advanced features. A lot of correctional or PLC people use Modbus third-party programming. That's what these features are for. What you want to really pay attention to is the activation over here in the page and info. This is where we tell this channel how we want it to activate. So I'll go up here to channel 1 and bring up the activation pop-up window. As we can see, it says channel 1 up here, so we know we're in the right channel. We're not using any of these for the telco page. What we need to do is go up here for page and events, because that's what we're actually doing. And you can see I have no page and events in the system, so I am going to add a page and event. But first thing we have to look up here, is this an integration mode, singular mode, or talk mode? Since we are going to allow the user to dial multiple zones or combination of zones, then that's going to be an integration. Basically, it's looking for more information before it determines the output routing. So we'll leave it on integration, and we will click add. Now at this point, we can give this event a name, and let's say it's telco page. And I can actually go in here to see and program all the different events and the routing. So we've given a name, we clicked right there, and this is where we're going to set up the code and the zones and priorities and which device it's going to go to and everything. So we're going to click add, and here's where we say, is it a single, is it only one zone, or do we give it a range? And I'll say range. And just for fun, let's say I've got 16 zones on my system. We got 8 monitored and 8 unsupervised, and they're all connected. So I'm going to say 1 to 16 here. As a matter of fact, let's put 1 extra because that's going to be our all call, and we'll show you how to do that. So I set that up, and here's all my codes. These are the DTMF codes that they would actually dial. At this point, I can assign that code to a zone or groups of zones, or by clicking here, it would be all zones. One other thing, on this system, the network, if I had multiple IDA8 C's or whatever in a network, they would be right here, and I could actually access them through the network, but we only have 1.